My name is Janice DiGirolamo, and I am a member of the Aahara board. And we have begun a series of interviews with members of the Aahara community. And this is our first interview. And we're so glad that you're with us and are here to witness this with us. Um, and I'm so excited to have Lynsey Dunham as our first interview. Um, Lynsey has been involved in Aahara for the last 7 years. She's been through the SHIP program as well as the Warrior SHIP program. Those are two different programs, and Lynsey's going to explain these to us in a few minutes. She has been an apprentice and a master apprentice now. And she is going to talk about these with us and explain what they are and what they mean to her. Um, so, hi, Lynsey.
Hi, Janice.
It's so good that you've agreed to do this to be the first interview for the Aahara audio interviews.
I'm honored.
Yes. So, Lynsey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, what exactly do you want to know? Because I'm pretty open book, so
Okay. Okay. So, how old are you?
I am 35. I'll be 36 next month.
Okay, so you're from the Pluto generation.
I guess so, if that's what you say, Janice.
Yes, yes, you are. Um, and may I ask, what do you do?
Currently I work for a security integrator company. We are an electrical contracting company, so we do like fancy security systems for schools, hospitals, things of that sort. Commercial security.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, here we are. Um, so I think my first question is going to be, well, how did you hear about Ahara? When did you first hear about it?
I kind of stumbled into it by just being at the office over before Heartland is where it is now. I was at the office going to see another practitioner in the building, and so I was just sitting there waiting, and I saw Carly walk out of her office, and I didn't know her at the time, but I had seen her around. I worked at a local coffee shop here in town, and so I, said hello, and then it was good to see her. And then we just kind of chatted for a second, and she had asked me what I had going on, I think maybe the following weekend or something like that, and gave me a pamphlet saying that there was a free breath work coming up. Um, it was Breathe the World. And so that's something that Aahara offers yearly, that they invite, whoever wants to come to do a free breath work out at Jubilee Farms. And or that's where it was that year. And so I had no idea what that even meant, but I was like, that sounds interesting. And I was just kind of starting a healing journey, and so I just went into it. And once I did a breath work for the first time, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and beautiful and terrifying, and I need more of it. So I just kept showing up.
What can you tell me about doing a breath work? Not everyone knows about this, and if someone didn't know about it and they were contemplating doing it, what would you offer to them to
Um,
give them information about it?
I would first kind of probably say something along the lines of be open-minded. This isn't like uh uh normal type of thing to do, I would say. Be open-minded in that regard.
I think maybe my question is, what did it do for you?
It opened my whole world up. It cracked me open like an egg. It showed me a way to dive deep into myself without using any substances or anything of that nature to get to a place within me to be able to heal and be able to experience myself in a way that didn't take substances, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. It sounds very powerful.
Yeah.
How did you go about integrating the experience?
I mean, thankfully, there are several people that are there whenever you do breath work. There are facilitators, and of course, John and Carly and Ruth and apprentices and whatnot, and other participants. But within the integration, like you're given through teachings extra tools to kind of unpack and understand a little bit more about like what the breathwork experience did, or what it showed you, and kind of how to look at it through different lenses to where then you can, yeah, integrate or put the puzzle pieces together rather.
Mhm. So it sounds to me like this is like going into another dimension of ourselves in a way.
Several dimensions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sounds wonderful,
Yeah.
actually.
Let's do it right now.
Um, so what did you do after the breath work? Because I know then you started in a pathway, right? An Aahara pathway after that.
Yeah, I mean, I had gone to my first breath work was the free breath work, and then shortly after that I went to a warrior breath work, and that one was Eagle. And this was, I want to say, back in 2018. So I've been coming to breathworks for several years. Um but so whenever I did the warrior, that was extremely profound. um
So the original breath work that you did,
Mhm,
that would have just been a 1 day
half day.
experience, of a number of hours. And the warrior experience
Mhm,
is a whole weekend.
correct.
So it's a weekend of, describe the weekend a little bit for us.
Yeah, so going to the warrior workshop weekend was just a way of, instead of going to just a half day, it was way more intense, way more teachings. Um, so a lot more integration, a lot more work with myself. And then, so whenever I had done that, I heard about SHIP and the shamanic healing initiatory process. And so once I started doing that, and made it through the first 5 initiations, I thought, wow, how do I go deeper? Like I have to keep doing this. I have to, for myself, because I was getting so much out of it. So I started apprenticing through them, and then I did my apprenticeship through SHIP. And then when it came to the end of that apprenticeship, I had asked John and Carly and Ruth about possibly doing my master apprenticeship in Warrior, because the master apprenticeship in Warrior just seemed at that time to resonate more with me and who I am, as far as like the natural world, animals, the elements that coincide with those animals. I'm a Virgo, I'm an earth sign, so lots of all of those things. It just
Mhm.
resonated a little bit more along with the warrior aspect of it. Got a lot out of ship, but warrior just resonated a little bit more. And so then currently still doing my master apprenticeship in warrior. I have one more to do to complete that. But then I've also signed up to complete my master apprenticeship in ship. So I start doing that in January.
It seems like there's some kind of teaching that can happen if you can go into what you said, an apprentice level
Mhm,
and then a master apprentice.
mhm.
Can you speak into that a little bit? How that is and what, how it is that you can come to do that? I mean, I heard that it was completing ship and it's
Mhm.
going through a number of the warrior programs. But once you enter into that, what is that like?
It starts to get a little bit more intense because you've already done the first initiations or the modules of ship or initiations through warrior. But in that way, you're showing up just for yourself as a participant and or a part of the community. But then whenever you become an apprentice, it's not just about you anymore. It's about you being of service to your group and to your community. And so not only are you in your own process and doing all of the things that everyone else is doing, but you're also showing up for everybody else that's there and helping support them in their process. So you're learning how to, yeah, be stronger within yourself, but also show up for your community and be of service. So, and then, it gets a little bit more intense even in master apprenticing because well, even in apprenticing, you do some teaching, you have rituals that you do. And when I say ritual, it's, not necessarily like woo woo type ritual. It just means an offering, of some sort. Whether that look I don't know, they all look differently. It's a teaching, an offering um to the group. So you might start out whenever you're an apprentice, you just have like a 10-minute ritual or offering. And then by the time you turn around to master apprenticing, you've got 15, 20 minutes of that. So it's just slowly leveling up and being more of service in the community is what the apprenticing is about.
Mhm.
Is just
So the
being
offering is creating an experience for the group? Is that how to
That's a
think
good way
about
to
it?
put it. Yes, yeah.
Mhm. Well, that sounds wonderful. That
Yeah.
sounds very exciting, yeah.
And a little nerve-wracking sometimes.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're stepping into your life and into this particular group of into the community in a bit of a
Mhm.
different way than
Mhm.
just being
Right.
just being in experience of it.
Mhm.
You're actually doing a teaching.
Mhm.
So since completing ship is part of the becoming an apprentice,
Mhm.
exactly what is ship?
Well, it's an acronym for the Shamanic Healing Initiatory Process. It's a very deep inner journey. There are 5 modules that are associated with elements as well. So both programs have, they are associated with elements. Um, but so there's cycles of change and family of origin and shadow, inner beloved, and then sacred purpose. They all stand alone in their own module or series. Trying to think of how to say that, but you don't have to do all 5 of them, like one workshop if you just want to go to Shadow or if you just want to go to Inner Beloved. The workshops themselves are standalone workshops. But if you're just trying to get a little bit deeper within your self-discovery, healing journey, it's best to do all of them in order if you can. I didn't because I go against the grain and that's my path. And so um yeah, they each have um uh they each
Give us an entry into um, ourselves in a different way.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
I mean, shadow is very different than sacred purpose, for
Yeah.
example,
Mhm.
and both are very helpful.
Yeah, they all carry a little bit of a different weight, like depending on which element you're in is another thing. Cycles of change, and that one is water. And so then things maybe start to get moving a little bit, the water's breaking things up, maybe unearthing some things. And then you've got family of origin is earth. So I mean, if you think about your family dynamics and maybe where you came from, that can feel pretty mucky, can feel heavy. And then you move into the next one, which is shadow, which is fire. And don't really think you need to explain that one too much, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Um,
Most people get that one. And why it's hot.
yeah. Or it's bringing light to things, like
Yes.
shadow doesn't have to be scary. A lot of people are terrified of shadow, but that's where the gold is, like it's where we put things to keep safe, that it's not bad. Shadow is not bad. If anything, it's probably one of my favorite of all of the modules and ship. Inner beloved, on the other hand, no. Um, but so yeah, you walk through these elements, and each one carries a different vibration. And if you do them in sequence, then it's like you're on a moving train. You're gaining momentum as you go through each module. But like I said, you don't have to do them in order.
So it's like a birthing process.
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That was
thank you.
beautiful, Lynsey.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've been doing this 7 years. How is your life different?
I think it's probably easier to say, how is it not different, It's different in several ways. Like my relationship's different with my husband, my family dynamic is different. Obviously, because all of the work that I've done on myself throughout doing all of these workshops has made me a more complete, more authentic version, unapologetically me, that I'm different. Everything is different. And whenever that happens, things around you change for the good or for the bad, but it helps you weed out what's meant to be in your life and what's not. And that has very much taken place.
So let me ask you this, since you've done all of these different workshops, if I were someone who hadn't done any of these and I wanted to come to Aahara, what would it be like if I signed up and walked in the door for the first time to a weekend workshop? What would it be like for
It
me?
it's like, for me, it was like coming home. You are walking into a door, maybe seeing faces you may know or you may not know at all, but every single person inside those doors, their arms are outstretched and they're just welcoming you in with open arms. It's beautiful. Gonna cry. I'm trying not to cry. It's very sweet. It's such a safe space to just be you, and they love you for exactly who you are and nothing else, you
Mm.
know?
So it feels a little bit to me as you talk of like being embraced.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, and so the whole weekend is like that,
The
maybe.
whole weekend, from the second you walk in through the door, from the time you walk out, but I feel like by the time you walk out, you feel even more like that. You feel even more like a family. You make lifelong connections and friends, and it's such an eclectic group as well, in age, in spiritualities, in walks of life, religions. It's not all the same type of people, and I think that there's so much within that too, is that not everybody is the same, and we are all the same, you know
Mhm. So going back a little bit, um, can you talk a little bit about speak into what it is like going to one of the warrior workshops and resonating into um, an experience of being with one of the animals? that are in warriors. So just pick one and just talk about it a little bit so someone can get a sense of this who doesn't know.
I'll start with Eagle. That was my very first one. And so I feel like that was, I mean, they all are so extremely potent in their own way. But Eagle for me was a way, you become the eagle. You are the eagle. It's giving you its medicine, it's teaching you from inside. So not only are you the eagle, we're the eagle, we're flocking together type situation. You're learning how to see things from a different perspective. It's that higher knowing, it's that so much strength. Um, it's just magical. I don't know. It's hard to put all into words, I guess, and I know that that's not the best thing for trying to get your point across in a podcast, but
So it sounds like it's both metaphoric in
Yes.
some ways, but it also sounds like it has its own reality as
Yeah,
well, not just in metaphor.
correct. Yeah.
So it's sort of the essence and the nature of whatever being that that you're entering
Yeah, that you're
into.
embodying or that you're learning about because you learn stories about these creatures, and like how they interact in the wild. And then you think about it in the context of yourself and how you interact in the world, And so it's it's seeing that even though it's an animal that you have similarities or that you can learn from its patterns, or you can integrate those patterns and find the strengths within them.
Mhm. Great. So there's been, let's just name a few of them,
Mhm.
just so people know.
There's lion, tiger, eagle, and dragon were the core um, or foundation of warrior. And then it's gone forward over the last couple of years. They've brought in other animals and so I think for some people, that didn't get to get those original core elements and animals in, they offer them online so that you can do that, which is awesome, because not everybody is in our area. And so it gives them the ability to still do the work and be supported. And even though it's over Zoom, I've done one online and you still get just as much out of it online than you do from sitting in the room in circle with people. So they do an amazing job of making you feel supported and heard and seen.
And isn't other, so there's been eagle.
Dragon, there's hyena, there's elephant, whale, lion, tiger, crow. That was a very magical weekend.
And beaver,
Beaver,
correct? Yeah.
yes. Deer's coming up.
So I'm curious, has crow stayed with you in any way?
I have crows that are outside my office that I give peanuts to every single day almost. They yell at me through the window and they're like, "We're out here." Uh so I have peanuts at work that I put outside for the crows and um they feel like family. Um, and I feel more connected to crows because of Crow Warrior weekend that we did.
I remember in the workshop you talked about crows, you walking out and how the crows would come
Mm,
to wait for you,
mm,
that they expected you.
yeah,
Yeah, that was great.
yeah. The Crow Warrior weekend was magical. Crows are magic, on in multiple different cultures they're seen as these, magical beings. And And so, you learn all of these traits about these animals, some that you may have known already, or maybe a little bit deeper layers to them. my ritual I did with a fellow apprentice. And we talked about all of the things that crows in the wild do, you know. And so they are very smart creatures. They use tools to get food. They are big family units, you know. So it's about community if you think about it in that way, you know. So here we are, a family, here we are, a community, and being there for each other. They have, you know, facial recognition over generations. Like they I wanna say it's something crazy along the lines of maybe 5 generations, but there was this, university that put on this caveman mask, and they took these baby crows from their nest, and so they had these caveman masks on, and whenever they took those crows, you know, the parents were not happy, obviously, they put them back, but they became a threat. This caveman mask became a threat. And so years later, years after they had done this, whenever they would put on these caveman masks, the crows knew that it was a threat. And so they would let all the other crows know that this is a threat. This is not safe. This place is not safe, you know. And so, like, they remember and they teach generations that certain things aren't safe or certain things are good, you know, like they are a family unit, you know. And so, with that being said, a different layer to this like facial recognition, you know, because I feed crows, you know, and I have this relationship with them. Whenever I go outside to give them peanuts, I'm like, it's me, Lynsey, it's your friend. I talk to them, you know, because I want them to know my voice and I want them to know my face. And because my hair changes all the time, you know, so I mean, who knows if that will deter them over time. But so anyways, there's this element of that facial recognition or this soul recognition um, that I find a huge gift from Crow. Like whenever you see someone of the same vibration, there's that element of knowing that this is a safe space. This is someone that you can trust. This is someone that you can be vulnerable with, you know? So it's things like that. It's not necessarily these specific tools that we have. It's all on how you interpret it. It's all on how you integrate Crow's medicine, you know?
Well, sounds wonderful. Can you think of something else that we can say that will help people understand what it is like to come to Aahara for a workshop?
I mean, I advocate for Ahara all of the time. Even if we were to just remove breath work, you know, and just talk about the people that I've met through Ahara, it has changed my life in just the regard of the beautiful community that is Ahara. You know, there are so many walks of life, so many layers of wisdom and support, and there are I can't even count on all my fingers and toes that of anyone I could reach out to right now and say, "Hey, do you have a second to talk to me?" immediately. You know, like it's the community is beautiful in just that regard, but and then you add on the teachings, and then you add on the breath work, and you add on all of those layers of the integration of r- all of the puzzle pieces of yourself through learning. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Thank you, Lindsay. I do have another question that I didn't ask, but I did want to ask it because it could be kind of hard.
Okay.
What does initiation mean? You've used it in a
Mm,
number of different, in all of these. Each
mhm,
of them is an initiation.
mhm.
What does that really mean? What is your sense of that?
Hmm. it's like putting a puzzle together, you know, it's being put through something and then coming out the other side of it stronger. Um, but that may seem like a negative thing, but if you think about it, we're doing this to ourselves. We made the choice to show up to the workshop. You know, I made the choice to go to the workshop. I was willing and ready to go through this process. And we're given the things in that moment, in that time, that we're ready to work on, you know? So sometimes it does feel extremely heavy, but you go through it and you have support and you have so many people there to give you um, different outlooks on things, to understand it better, because what I may feel is this overwhelming thing that I'm not going to be able to handle. If I have someone there that is explaining something to me, maybe in a different version, then it gives me a little bit of hope. So the initiation is, yeah, going through something tough, but coming through it on the other side stronger.
So what I'm hearing is it's like being initiated into a new part of yourself.
Yeah. Like, if we want to look at it in the form of tattoos, I have several tattoos, you know, like tattoos are initiations, you know, to some degree. It's something that doesn't feel the greatest, you know, but at the same time, you have something beautiful to look at for the rest of your life. So even though the workshop may be tough, you make it on the other side of it a stronger, more confident person.
More beautiful.
More beautiful, absolutely.
Thank you, Lynsey.
It's
That's
the facelift of the soul. Yeah, yeah. Facelift for the soul.
Oh,
Work. Facelift for the soul.
oh, beautiful. Beautiful. I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
I think we can close on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Lynsey.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Candace.
yeah. Mm. And thank you for being with us, and we hope you'll join us in our next interview. Thank you.
Thank you.